Because I thought she said she was available.
Hey there, Audrey. Hey. So this is a really awesome training right now. It's about developing your team, and it's really focused on that coaching piece. So during all of our planning calls, we talked about who would be our next leader on your team. And many of you were able to specify somebody you had in mind. Some you guys weren't sure about. It's tough. So we're going to talk about it tonight. But what the agenda is all about is the second S in boss, and it's about the support piece. So know who to coach. We're going to talk about the Avon coach approach before you begin coaching, the coaching interaction. We're going to talk about coaching is like selling and the coaching plan. So coaching is one way you can support your team. And you can help them lather, rinse, and repeat all of the skills needed to grow their Avon business. Something that I've always loved about Avon is they make it duplicatable. So as a coach, you're really just teaching them things that you've done, and that they can just duplicate and repeat what you're doing. So let's identify somebody. I have somebody in mind. Maybe a great coach that you've had in the past. Somebody that you felt like made a difference in your life or just kind of really impacted you. It could have been maybe a boss or a sports coach, a mentor, a neighbor, a family member, a teacher, friend. So, I mean, I know when I think back, I think about my band director. I was a total band geek and absolutely loved playing the band and being a part of that. And that had all to do with my band director, who I would consider the greatest coach I've ever had. Mr. Weyersberg just had a way of making you feel important. He heard your side of the story. He was my director for 4 years, as well as my choir director. And I traveled with him on the road to different choir events. I was even on TV with him in a Pops concert in Detroit a couple years in a row. And he just was somebody who made you feel good. He supported you. He encouraged you. And I think most important, he let me be the singer and the band person that I wanted to be. And he just was right there backing me up, cheering me on. So, what do you guys have any coaches or anybody in your life that has impacted you? I know on one of our first calls, we talked about, important people in our life. And a lot of us talked about our mothers or our grandmothers. And that could definitely be your greatest coach. Does anybody pop in your mind to you? If you want to share this, even though it's so late, I know we're tired.
My first district manager, Sherry, was awesome. She was one of the best coaches I've ever encountered. She was amazing. She was excited about the business, and she was a very good trainer. She would show you how to do something. She's the one that got me into leadership. First she'd show you, then she'd sit back and let you do it. She was open to asking questions. If you had questions, she was open to. She had very good listening skills. She wasn't judgmental, just really an awesome coach. And she kind of walked the talk. If the things that she taught you were the kind of things you would actually see her do. And in terms of recruiting and developing team members. So I thought she was amazing.
Awesome. So she's really the kind of coach that you are actually, Audrey.
Really, I got a lot from her. I learned a lot from her.
Awesome. And that's what our coaches, they teach us, and they teach us in a way that we feel comfortable and confident. And that's really what this is about tonight. How to be the best coach you can be to support your Avon team. So, all right. So let's talk about how important it is to understand who to coach. So we're going to look at a recent study published by Harvard Business Review identified that most coaches spend time coaching poor performers and high performers while ignoring their core performers. Think about the individuals you coach today. You may not think of it as formal coaching, but I would imagine there are some members on your team that get more attention than others. Coaching poor performance often feels appropriate as there is nowhere else to go but up with them. But you do have to consider, though, that these individuals may not be in the right role to begin with based on their current skill set. So you might be able to understand this. Have you ever spent a bunch of time coaching someone who just doesn't seem to be able to improve?
That's a waste of time.
What?
You know, and because a lot of times, Kate, it's not that they can't improve. Some people just don't want to improve. And you could take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So it's like you just try to find out whether or not it's either one or two things. It's either they truly don't understand and they really, really, really want to improve, or they understand, but they're just not motivated to improve. You know, they don't want to put the work into it. And if you find out if you've got you have to find out exactly where your people are from talking to them. Some people just don't truly want to put in any effort. And if you find that you've got a person that does not want to put effort into getting the results that they say they want, and they want you to do the work for them, then you have to realize that and call it out, you know, call it for what it is, you know, and actually say those things in a really nice way. You have to let a person know, okay, if we're going to do this, we have to do this together. I can't do it for you, kind of conversation.
Sure, exactly. And you hit it right on the head there with our poor performers, because I know in my district sales manager role for many years, I felt like a lot of the people that I worked with that were taking a lot of my time all hours of the day were the ones who really wanted me to do the work for them. And it took me a few years before I realized that, to be honest. And I thought I was helping everyone I could, and then I had to realize, okay, where do I put my foot down and gain my time back, my valuable time, and then really focus on the ones that have the skill and the will to perform. So I think it's all about having that conversation, but then also allowing yourself to say, you know what, I need to move forward and find those new people to coach. And then aside from the poor performers, coaching high performers can really be easy and a lot of fun because they have a lot of the knowledge and they're right up there working alongside of you. So sometimes we have to step back from our high performers as well, because they know what they're doing and they've got it. They understand. And really, you can still coach them, but those wouldn't be the folks that you need to put all your time into either. Because they know what they're doing. They've got skills, and you can work right alongside with them and have a good time. But what we really need to look at while we're choosing and talking about who we're going to coach is our core performers. So really prioritizing your coaching time wisely by seeking out those core performers right there in the middle, right? I like this demonstration picture. It helps.
It's got that star in the background there.
Your core performers are your stars, right?
Yes.
So there's an old age saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Which is just like what you said, Audrey, leading a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So being someone that others want to follow comes down to empowering individuals to be the best versions of themselves. It's not about doing things for them, leading alongside them, or micromanaging every movement they take. Instead, it's really truly about building them up, supporting their efforts, and coaching them to become a better leader, a stronger leader. Because when you do empower people to become the entrepreneur that they see themselves being, they in turn can bring this amazing Avon opportunity to others. And then that's where you can start seeing your leaders grow on your team. So I kind of like this demonstration too. Here she is, Wonder Woman. We're all Wonder Womans, right? Doing it for them. We're right beside them. We're at the event doing it for them, directing them. Okay, this is what you need to do next. This is what you need to do next. We want to transform that into teaching them and building their capability so they can feel confident to do it on their own, supporting their efforts and coaching them to lead. It's quite an interesting mind frame change, I think. So with that, coaching your team can help you grow for sure by enriching the lives of your team. Your team can support you as you reach for your dreams. The Avon Coach approach is about developing trusted relationships through intentional interactions designed to build competence through inspiring a person's heart. So we have the enrich here, developing trusted relationships through intentional interactions designed to build competence through inspiring the person's heart. So we're going to talk about each of these elements tonight. But before you begin coaching on your team, it's important to follow these few steps. You ask for permission. Get to know her heart and her belief, which we all have done training on that. And I think you all naturally have that within you. Finding out what that person's heart wants, what they want out of their life, what they believe in, and what their belief can be with their business. Plan to build a trusted relationship, and then identify her coaching priorities. These steps will contribute to building trust with the person and respecting her needs and her wants with her Avon business. Because how many times have we had somebody on our team and we go, oh, if they were to get to here, then I would be here. So when I talk to them, here's what I'm going to tell them I need them to do. I don't know if any of you have done that, but it can happen that way. So we're trying to switch that around to finding exactly what they want and helping them reach that goal. Because when they're reaching what they want to reach, guess what? It's going to help you reach what you want to reach as well.
Yeah.
So anything you guys want to add, just fill in. But once you identify that person or those people that you want to coach, you need to ask her for her permission. And then you also want to share why you would like to coach her. Ask her for her thoughts, her permission, and then just know if she says yes, then that just means you can start building that relationship together. If she says no, just acknowledge that response and then offer support whenever she needs it. and then find somebody else that you can offer to coach. Because when you have their permission and they know that they're partnering with you, they're going to know that you're that person that is willing to work along beside them. And there's an agreement between you. And so it holds her accountable and it holds you accountable together as her coach. That way, maybe a week down the road, if you just say, well, I'm going to work with this person, but you guys don't have a verbal agreement on it, maybe the following week, well, we worked that one time, so we're good. But this is a true partnership, a coaching relationship that's going to last you. And it's I tell you, it's fantastic to have those relationships build and get stronger and stronger. And then I've just loved we had 12 people in our first class, and being able to reach out to them and them reach out to me and partner with each other and talk about their business with them. And when they call me and go, oh my gosh, Kate, I just got a new recruit. Here's what's going on. I wanted to tell you, or I need your help, or, it's just a really great thing. So getting to know her heart and her belief. We have our 4 chambers, right? And you guys hopefully remember this from your very first kickoff call. You each got to fill, your heart out and write down what does she want in life? What does she not want? Over in the purple, why does she have an Avon business? How has her business changed her life in a positive way? And how does running her Avon business make her feel? So these are questions that you can kind of have in your little pocket there and say, okay, I've got these questions for her when I'm going to talk to her, and kind of get to really know her heart and where she's at. So when you are starting to build that trusted relationship, so let's say, Patty, you have, let's say Vicki on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that you would feel comfortable reaching out saying, hey, I'm so glad you joined my team. I am really wanting to work right next to somebody and coach you through the process of becoming a new representative, and then throughout your time with Avon. Would you be interested in allowing me to coach you? And more than likely, Vicki will say yes, because people really do have a good connotation when it comes to coaches. They think, oh, cool, somebody here that's rooting for me. So more than likely, Vicki would say, sure. So at that point, Patty, you would say, well, I want to get to know you better. I have this piece of paper so I can learn more about you. You guys, I can send you the belief form if you wanted her to be able to fill it out. You might still have it on your computer. She could just fill out the front page. Or you could just talk to her, and it doesn't have to be something where she fills anything out. But after you find where her heart's at, really planning to build that trusted relationship with her. And I really like the 3 R's of building trust that we've put together here. Number 1, be real. Making sure you're being real with her and being authentic and being the real you. And be sure to share your story. Make sure she knows what brought you to Avon. You guys all put together, your 30-second or 1-minute belief story. Share that with her. And then number 2, be relatable. Make sure that you're listening and empathizing. We trained on that, how to be relatable with our recruits when they're trying to recruit. Well, how to be relatable with the person that you're going to coach. Tailor your message to her story. And then number 3 is a really important one, being reliable. It's important that you establish that credibility, that you're consistent, that you're present. If you say you're going to call her, make sure you call her, or if something pops up, make sure you let her know, oh, I can't give you a call today like we talked about, but can we reschedule for tomorrow? Just make sure you're being reliable. So, I mean, talking about the 3 R's, what do you think that really would mean to the person on your team? You know, using those 3 skills, do you think that would really benefit that relationship?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
So what do you think a coach could possibly do to kind of break that trust? Or, I mean, I know I've had people in my past that I've worked close with, and a few things I remember, you know, that happened to me, one in particular. Um, and actually, I know that me and Audrey were talking about somebody that she worked with that a couple times at she had scheduled to work with you and just was like a no call no show, right, Audrey?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's similar to my story as well. So, but that really can erode the trust. So it's so important that us as the coach are really making sure that we're paying attention to these 3 R's.
Well, you know what? I think that the first, second, and third, they're all pretty equal, because if you're real with them, then they just see that you may be a leader, but we're all like, we all start out just the same. And when you're relatable, like they can kind of see themselves being in where you are, and that they can talk to you, that you're well, you can see eye to eye, that you're the kind of person that they can truly relate to. That's really, really good. And then able to have a person that's your coach, that is a person that looks at you the same as they look at themselves. That makes you feel really good. And then if they're reliable, if they say they're gonna help you on Monday, I think that's huge. Because when you tell them you're gonna help them on Monday, you can't really it's not a good idea to start out having to reschedule, even though life does happen. When you first start working with people, they kind of form their opinion about you. So it's real important at the beginning of a relationship to let people know. If you say you're gonna meet at the Tim Hortons on Monday at 8, you're gonna be at Tim Hortons at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of get a good feel for you initially. And if you mess up the first time, you may not have a second time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. It starts out really in the very beginning, right? Building that relationship right in the beginning when you really start to work with that person. So
we go through the same struggles that they go through, when you think about it. This is Patty. Just like, last night, I think there were a bunch of us trying to get on and place our orders. And no matter if you're a new rep or someone who's been there a long time or a coach, we were all on Facebook, trying to help each other out and tell each other where to go to help get their order in. So we can all relate and understand the realistic part,
Mm-hmm.
And
then just, share that with them.
Exactly. I love it. So, and it's really a good idea to talk to your team members about her coaching priorities so you can help her in the areas that she feels are most important. So I don't know if you guys are thinking of somebody on your team. I know Audrey had mentioned to me she has somebody on her team that she's been working with. And then Patty, maybe you do too, or Debbie, but, really looking at these areas, I know each of you looked at these areas in the beginning of our program and helping them to identify some areas that they want to do better at. Maybe they've been an Avon representative for 5 years and they might say, man, after looking at this with you, the planning, the leading, the selling, the managing, I would like to do better at creating strategies to sell more products. Or, maybe they do want to get into the leadership piece, but don't feel like they're very good at the time management, so they're not able to fit it in. So making sure that you help them look through, this model, or just talk to them and ask them, hey, where are some areas that you want to work on? And then, as her coach, you could make some additional suggestions based on where you think you could help in those same areas. So if you're having an actual sit-down meeting, you could have this with you and say, hey, let's talk about, after you've went through all the other steps, say, let's talk about this together. I want to learn more about the areas you want to do better in, or the areas also that you feel like you've got them down, and you feel confident. And I think by identifying her coaching priorities, you then can prioritize your coaching conversations to maximize those conversations' impact with her. Are there any areas where you feel like people on your team need the most coaching, have you found? I know, I think it can be with getting their orders in right now, right? A little coaching for that.
We were doing what we could last night. I actually phoned mine in.
Did you phone it in?
I had to. I couldn't get on the website. I had to get it in. So I just phoned it in. I haven't done that in years. But I did that, and about 1 o'clock I was able to go back in and get my other order that I had started and finish pushing it through.
Oh, my goodness. What were they saying?
It was terrible.
What did it say on the computer? Did it say we're having technical difficulties, or was it just
no?
Up, or?
It was freezing up, and then it would start, like the page would come back up to log in, and it would just sit there, and then you would shut it down and try again, and the page would come up, and you put in your information, and it would just freeze up, and it was bad. And it was weird because Jill told Jean that it was they were doing updates, and I said no, we would have got an email if they were doing updates, and there was no email, because I write that stuff on my calendar so I know when there's updates. Yes. So I can get things in before they do the updates. And even it was Thursday night or Friday night, I was going to start putting my order in, and that night too I had a problem signing in. It was really weird, and it should have been fine to allow us to go in, but it was acting goofy. But the customer service rep today said that it was because so many people were placing their orders. I think the system, he said, just got overwhelmed.
Well, I know there was updates. I thought it was January 29th from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Would that have been over the weekend? I should know the dates.
January?
Did I say January?
You said January.
Did
you mean November?
November. That's the last email I received, was like November 29th from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. It was like a Saturday night.
Yeah, and they were definitely doing updates that weekend.
Right. So that was the weekend before.
Right, yeah. This weekend I also did not see anything come through.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I'm glad that you were able to call it in, and I really hope everyone else had a chance to get their orders in. There's nothing like a sales company having their sales site go down, right?
Right.
My gosh.
Because Karen said she was having problems. I don't know if she ended up getting her order in.
Karen Green?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
She texted me and Nicole and asked us. I was sleeping, actually, but when I woke up in the morning, I noticed she trying to get her order in.
Oh, man. Well,
yeah, it was a panic. It was a lot of people were panicking.
Well, sure, because the order schedule is a bit different through the holidays, and we need to get our orders on time. And the one nice thing is they will definitely not charge you for the late portion of it, late shipping. So, okay. So once you've accomplished the steps that we've just talked about, you can begin to have coaching interactions. So let's say by now you have her permission, you know her well, and you've begun to establish a trusted relationship with her. She has prioritized her coaching needs. She's feeling good about your relationship together, and she's receptive to your ideas and your suggestions. Now, I would say that is a perfect world, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys were on board like that and it was, really going that well, that's amazing. But if you think back, so Debbie and Patty, it looks like Audrey's computer logged off or something. I really didn't know you guys before we did our coaching. And, we've had a chance to talk every week one-on-one and get to know each other. And you guys have all agreed to be coached and you're totally on board. And it's just been working out really well. And I've seen our relationships grow. So that would be the same thing with your coaching interactions with your team member. So the coaching interaction is 4 steps. If trust is required to build a relationship, intentional interactions can solidify that relationship too. To build trust within each interaction, make sure you consider the following 4 steps. First, you identify a need, and understanding what the individual is struggling to overcome will allow you to provide relevant coaching for her. The problem is, sometimes it's not as easy as an individual saying, I have a weakness in this area. So we as the coach, we really need to identify their needs in other ways beyond the coaching priorities discussions that we've had. So, maybe we start asking her more questions to really get down to the bottom of, what it is that she feels she has a weakness in. So that's your what, really figuring out what competency that she needs or wants to be addressed. And then you investigate and you really say, okay, why is there a need there? Might the individual or your team member be unaware of what's expected of them? Are they demonstrating awareness in consistent fashion? Understanding why will allow you to tailor your support to them. But then next is really to instill that confidence. What can you recommend and share that will motivate her and to move forward past it? And then you want to inspire action. Okay, now that we've talked about what's bothering you or what areas you want to work on and why, I know that you can do it. We're going to work through it. We're going to make that happen. I know maybe it's for her it's time management. So then you start thinking of ways that maybe you've learned on, okay, well, let's look at your calendar. Let's map out what you do, your big rocks. Okay, you have these events. Okay, you work these times. Now let's look at the times you have open. Let's put on your calendar your delivery day. Let's put on your order day. How long does that take you? 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes, and just help her break down her calendar. And that could be where you start helping to motivate her and to move forward and with those specific next steps to help her improve that area. You guys are you're pros at it. You can do it. So you know how we have a call to action on all of our little homework that we do together?
Uh-huh.
That could be something that you work on with the person you're coaching when you're talking, and then say, okay, here's what I know we talked about today. Now, I have a call to action for you. The next time we meet, I would love to see 2 more hours, because you told me that you want to put more time into building your sales online. I would love to see where 2 more hours on your calendar can fit in to help you with your online sales or something like that. And then bring your calendar and we'll just make sure, if it works for your schedule and everything. But it's also important that you agree on the next time that you're going to get together so you can follow up. It can be over the phone in 2 days. It can be we're going to meet again next week on the same day at Tim Hortons, whatever it might be. But next, we're all going to discuss how coaching is like selling. How do you guys think coaching might be like selling? I think Patty's it's just me and you, Patty. I think everyone else is muted.
Oh.
I'm trying to think. How can coaching be like selling?
I had to unmute myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, hey. I wasn't sure if you were here because it cut off and then I'm glad. Okay.
Yeah, I had to refresh my browser.
Oh, no problem. Well, coaching is like selling, and we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Coaching interactions are very much like selling conversations. You can see that identifying needs and then investigating their why. The first steps in the coaching interaction are similar to the G and Grow. I don't know if you guys can think back, but when we did our our conversational selling module, we did the Grow method.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to know her need and finding more about her. So this coaching is truly like that same Grow method. You should use the same skills as you do when you're selling. Asking those good open-ended questions to the person you're coaching, and then digging deeper with more follow-up questions to really understand her. And then we want to make sure we're instilling confidence. Every time you're with her, making sure that you're letting her know what a great job she's doing, and that really aligns with the R and the O in Grow. And in order to instill that confidence with your team member, you need to recommend some possible solutions, like offering stories and best practices to motivate her to try and see that the solutions can make a difference. So hopefully that makes sense. And helping her feel comfortable, the more that you are working together with her and instilling her confidence, just really helping her realize that she can come up with her own solutions. And that by you asking her more open-ended questions, she probably will answer her very own question and come up with her very own solution. All right, let's see. So really the key to good coaching and selling are using those listening questions. And the better you get at asking questions, the more successful you'll be as a coach. So there are a broad range of benefits from effective questioning, from being able to connect in more meaningful ways to help individuals self-discover opportunities for growth and ideas for improvement. So let's review the do's and the don'ts of effective questioning. One important thing that I've had to learn to do, and I still work on, is asking one question at a time. So you keep the questions brief and clear and try not to clarify or rephrase the question. This often creates confusion. I do that too often for myself. That's one thing that I truly need to work on. And then asking open-ended questions, try to avoid the yes-no questions. If you can start your question with why or how, and we've talked about this in previous modules and trainings, but that prompts the individual or your team member to think for themselves. you can't get a discussion going if you only require a one-syllable response like yes or no.
Right.
So, and then asking for follow-up questions that don't lead the person to try to answer your, if you ask follow-up questions, try not to answer them yourself. I know that's weird, right? But for example, what's contributing to your increase in team sales? Was it the new brochure? So, like kind of, answering the question before she's able to spit out her answer, right?
Right.
It's all about that listening, ask it and then listen and we have to be quiet. It's hard. Ask the question and listen. Don't be afraid of the silence. Be patient. When we went to coach school for this program, that was the biggest thing that our trainer specified is be patient, and it's okay if there's 10 seconds or more of silence, because it allows people to think about their answers and raise their hand and and share. So, but it kind of gets nerve-wracking though when nobody's talking, right? Not for everybody. I don't know if everybody feels that way. So it even says count to yourself while your individual thinks about the answer. The silence will rarely last more than the 10 seconds. Does anybody, have you self-discovered anything about yourself, when it comes to the conversational selling piece? You feel comfortable, with the open-ended questions and asking one question at a time?
Okay, do you feel like when you don't say anything, even though there may be, like you say, the 10 seconds or whatever, they feel like they have to answer if you don't say anything? I find myself doing that, and it's really funny because just don't say anything. They're like, okay, I better say something because apparently she's not going to say anything. So they'll kind of chime in on it,
Right.
So even those who aren't very talkative will chime in eventually.
I know. It's really it's this weird thing that we all have, right? Like we just can't have silence. So, but it's a good thing for us to just be, knowing that information, so when you are sitting across the table and talking, and it's okay to have that silence. Give her a chance to say her piece, or sometimes it takes people a minute to think about what they want to say, and that's fine. So avoid the yes no questions though. That's something that I've had to practice over the years, because this can all play into your recruiting too, when you're out talking to people about the business.
Yes.
So everything goes hand in hand when it comes to our business and building relationships. All right. So active listening is just that. It's important to really actively make yourself listen to what the person is saying to you. Imagine if you're at a meeting with me, your coach, and in the middle of the conversation, I take a phone call and leave you hanging for like 5 or 10 minutes. How does that make the person on the other side of the table feel?
Not good. That's not good.
Not important.
Not important. I do feel like, Audrey, when you spoke earlier, if it's a new relationship you're building, then I think that's one thing that would make that person. I think if you are friends with that person, or you've worked with them for the last 2 or 3 years, or, I guess I'm just confessing, I've done that to people before, but it's with, and I hope I didn't offend these people, but representatives that I've been working with 2 and 3 years, and we're working hard, and then I get a phone call and I'll say, oh, I got it. I got to take this real quick. I think that's different in my mind than when you're trying to build that new coaching relationship.
But see, that's absolutely right, because when you are establishing a relationship, you have to first get to know each other. They don't understand, or they don't know how you truly feel about them
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. So like you're saying, after you've been working with people for a while, and you've established a relationship, they know good and well that you would not take the call if it wasn't very important, or a call that you just can't miss or something like that. But somebody who you're just establishing a relationship with, you get on, you start talking, and and you stop. It's as though that they're not as important. Their time isn't as important as yours, and you don't want to get off on the wrong foot. So when you are establishing a relationship, you have to do things a little bit differently.
Exactly. And in all of that being said too, be reliable and listen to that person when you are first building that relationship, because it does only take seconds to erode that trust. So consider implementing the following tips. Listen without opinion, and really just clear your head when you're with them and focus on that person. And reflect to ensure you're talking less and listening more. Listening really is more than just hearing what they're saying. It's also about reading between the lines to understand what they're not telling you. Sometimes you can read between the lines by body language or, hesitation, and but you still need to listen without opinion. But you can still, take it to heart of what you feel like you're, hearing. But really the key takeaway is to talk less and to listen more by utilizing your questions, your open-ended questions, and practicing the art of active listening. Okay. So a coaching interaction example. So let's meet Jill. She's a bronze ambassador who is very eager to build her Avon business. You have been coaching her for a few months. She has clearly communicated that she's having trouble recruiting new team members. So, in anticipation of next week's coaching conversation, put yourselves in the position of the coach in this scenario. So pretend you're the coach. What questions might you ask when investigating why Jill is unable to recruit new team members?
Might want to ask her how much time she's spending in her, in recruiting.
Yeah.
Each week, or just each day. How many times have you, how many hours are you setting aside each week for your recruiting efforts? That might be one question.
Sure. I think so. Just trying to see what time she's putting into it.
And then too, you might want to find out where she's going to do her recruiting. Is she doing it over the phone? What method is she using to do the recruiting?
Good. And I think another good question too would be, what is the part that you feel that you're having a hard time? What part is it about it? Because it could be, that could be a part too. Maybe she's afraid to go up to people. So with your question, Audrey, she might say, well, at the time I'm putting into it, I've actually never done it because I'm afraid to do it. It's hard to. So that's a great question, Audrey. And does anyone else want to share? Hey, Debbie, I see you turned the microphone on.
The dog was throwing a fit, and it wouldn't unmute. I clicked on it, I don't know how many times before it finally went to unmute. So,
Oh. Well, I'm glad you're here. Another one, you could also ask her, what part do you struggle the most with? Do you feel like it's the networking part? Do you feel like it's not getting out and about? But that's me answering my question for her, right? So where do you struggle the most with it?
Yes.
You could ask her, here's a question that we have. Have you ever had to recruit at a prior job or in a different role? And she might say, well, I used to have to do phone calls for another business, and it was kind of like recruiting because we had to, try to get them to enroll to get our credit card or something like that. And you could help maybe link the two together and see, how she was successful in that job. But while you're asking and investigating why, it's important that we're being that coach and instilling confidence in her, saying, Jill, we're going to figure this out for you. You are a bronze ambassador, so I know that you're going to move up, and I know that you have abilities to do this, and we're going to find out, what it is that you feel is stopping you, and we're going to make it happen. And, and just keep digging deeper with questions. Maybe you would have a story that you could tell her to feel more confident. Maybe you would be able to be relatable and say, oh my gosh, I remember when I started with Avon, or I remember somebody I've worked with and they have a similar story, and this is what she did to, really work towards feeling more comfortable and confident. And but really it all comes from, you guys would probably agree, it's just asking question after question. Well, tell me more about why you feel that way. How much time are you putting into it? And really just, and the thing is about it though, is we don't want to come up with the solutions for her. We want to allow her to talk it through and tell us where she's feeling that area where she needs to do better. And then when she goes, it's really because I haven't gotten out as much as I should. Maybe that's her answer. And I don't because I'm a little bit nervous. Okay. Well, tell me more about why you're nervous. Well, I just don't know how to approach, what do I say to the person? So then you start really finding out it's because she's afraid. She doesn't know what words to use. So you could say, well, Jill, tell me about, tell me about how you were approached when someone invited you into Avon. What did they say to you? Or, and just help her try to discover some ways. And obviously we know some ways that she could talk to people. You guys are all the experts, you compliment them and you just create dialogue and line at the grocery store and, just different ways. So.
Well, and then to offer to go out with them or to offer to work with them one-on-one, where they can actually see you in action and they can really, I think that instills confidence when you agree to go out with them. Like if you tell them, okay, going out, you say go out and recruit. Well, what do you mean? Well, come on, let's go out together. Would you like it if I would go out with you to show you some of the ways I do when I go out and recruit, or, meet together, and if the person wants to do it over the phone, you can meet somewhere, either at your home or at a library. Well, not a library, at like Tim Hortons or something, where you can actually do an actual recruiting phone call that they can listen in on, because sometimes that you're right there and you're adding that assistance. You might do a call and then let them do a call. with you being right there. They have any questions, they say, oh, what do you think? How did I do? You can give them feedback like that.
And that's perfect for coaching. Showing them how to do it and them observing you and then turning it around, when they feel comfortable and confident and say, now I want to observe you. And then that way, I can answer any of your questions. I can give you feedback if you're open to my feedback. And, practice makes perfect. And I'm right here alongside you. I love it. Good. So we have, and I need to email this to you guys, the coaching plan. So this is for you when you find out that perfect person or the person that agrees to allow you to coach them. This is for you to keep track of when you work together and to write down, why you selected that person to ask to coach. Were you able to ask her permission and get to know her heart? This is really for just your files, because there's a lot of people out there that like to, keep notes on everything, and there's some others that maybe not as much. So this is for you as a tool that you can utilize when you do find that person you're going to coach. Now, on the application guide, and this is the homework that you would do that we would go over on our one-on-one call. This is about the person that you're going to coach. Kind of, I'm going to pull mine out that I have here on paper. Second. So this is two ways you can use this, I guess. If you know your person that you're going to coach, you could actually utilize this form and walk her through these questions after you get her permission and she's like, oh yes, I would love it. You could say, I would love to know, what do you really want in life? And you could fill this information out on this first page. Hopefully you guys can see it okay. This is her belief heart page. Mm-hmm. If you don't have your person yet, this is your strategy. Down at the bottom it says your potential coachee. So maybe for you, Patty, it's Vicky. Maybe you haven't had a chance to ask her, but you can go in and fill this out for her. You know her, about her. You could put in here what she wants in life. Why does she have an Avon business? And you can kind of just fill that in for her. On the second page, ask for permission. Write down the words that you might use to ask one of your team members permission to coach her.
Okay.
Get to know her belief. These are some open-ended questions so you can get to know her a little bit better and learn more about her. And investigation questions, really getting to know her heart. And then instilling confidence right here, coming up with some examples of stories on how you could relate to her. And then inspiring action, and then your call to action. So remember, we talked about in the beginning your core performers. Make sure you're looking at your core performers to invite to coach with you, okay? Any questions on that?
Yeah, let me just ask you a question, Kate, because with my team members, the ones that I work with or want to work with, I never ask them if they mind me coaching them. I just say, would you like to work together? When they say that they're having problems, so my sales aren't where I want them to be. Wow, I'd love to work with you. If you would like me to, I'd love to work with you to help you get where you want to be. But I don't ever say the words coaching. Do you feel that we should be saying, well, should I coach you, or is it okay to just say, I'd love to work with you to get you where you want to be?
I think when you utilize the word coaching, I think they look to you, not that they don't already look to you as their mentor, mm-hmm. but they may look at you in a different light. And they may look at it as a agreed upon partnership when you offer to be their coach. Now, I think that they agreed to your help and your partnership with them. And I do think us as a company, Avon as a company, is really trying to utilize that word coach and what it means more than even what the title leader means or mentor. And so I do think it's necessary that we start adding that to our day-to-day when we're talking to our teams. I really want to be your coach and work with you and mentor you. So I think we do need to start. I think the answer is yes. I think we need to use that word.
Okay.
To make it even more effective partnership.
Okay.
Good question though, for sure. We're pretty much done. The hot topic question for our collaboration call is who has most influenced your success with your Avon business and why? So just keep that in mind, jot it down. Who has most influenced your success with your Avon business and why? And I'm sure right away somebody popped in your mind, but that'll give us a hot topic to talk about when we come back and collaborate next Thursday. Not this Thursday, next Thursday. And that will be a fun one to answer, I think.
Yes.
So just remember, the rich formula here, developing trusted relationships through intentional interactions designed to build competence through inspiring the person's heart. So I like this little picture here, in the middle it says know their heart. And then, outside, it starts with the being real, relatable, and reliable, and then you work your way in, and then you get to know their heart. I love it.
Yeah, that is lovely.
So I appreciate all of you being on so late tonight. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully we don't have to do it again. When Christmas comes around, it's possible we'll have to switch some things up, but you guys are all so awesome at that. And I'm willing to work with whatever your schedule is to make whatever our one-on-ones need to be around the holidays. So otherwise, let me know if you have any questions when you're starting to fill out your application guide, and I'd be happy to help you.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, well, sleep tight, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks so much. Appreciate all of you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You too.